Hi, welcome everyone to our Cecilia Health webinar. I'm Emily. I'm one of our diabetes educators and a dietitian, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today, our dietitian CDCES, Amy, will be talking about taking control, inspiring tools and tips for becoming your own diabetes coach. There is a phone number here at the bottom of the screen, 1-800-263-6317. If you're having any issues, please reach out. And thank you all again for your time. Next slide, please, Amy. There you go. Thank you. This is meant to be an interactive program. So the idea is that Amy will do a short presentation at the beginning, and then at the end, there is time for more of a Q&A session. You will see a questions tab off to your right on your toolbar, and you can type in a question, any comments that you may have, and she will be happy to address those at the end of today's webinar. Now, as a disclaimer, we know that the information you are about to hear may motivate you to make some changes, but please do talk to your doctor before making any changes to your current routine. The Cecilia Health Certified Diabetes Care and Education Specialist will provide strategies to help manage your diabetes, and this online Q&A session is intended to give general advice. It's not meant to be a substitute for personal medical advice and involves the professional opinion of the Cecilia Health Certified Diabetes Care and Education Specialist. So I want to welcome you all again. Amy Smith will be presenting for us today. She has been educating patients about diabetes and weight loss for 15 years. She lives in Texas and enjoys spending time with her family doing outdoor activities, being active in local community with her church, and traveling. So thank you all again. Thank you, Amy, and I'll hand it off.
Thank you, Emily. I am super excited to be here today. This is one of my favorite topics. And so we'll go ahead and jump in. So our goal today, if we look at our agenda here, is that we want to be able to talk about why problem solving is important for you, how attitude and mindset play a role, how to find information and seek support, the various problem solving tools that are available to you, problem solving in action, and then at the very end, we will review any questions, answer your questions, and then share a little bit if we have time. So let's go ahead and get started. So we do want to ask ourselves why problem solving skills are important to us. Well, we do know that diabetes needs change almost every single day. We know that stress, medication changes, lack of physical activity or more physical activity than normal can cause some blood sugar variations. We do also know that diabetes needs change gradually just over time. So there are changes in our lifestyle, and above all things, we do know that our body changes with age as well. So we talk frequently about what to expect with diabetes the longer you have it. It's just important to know that our bodies do go through all sorts of changes with age, obviously. The good news is that most diabetes solutions or situations do have solutions. So it may require a little bit of creativity and individualization, but we can always come to some sort of solution, thankfully. I do personally believe this is one of the biggest advantages in terms of self-care for diabetes management and problem solving, come what may, as we really do want to focus on what we are in control of, which is that it's all about perspective. So being open and willing to try new approaches is extremely important and valuable. Believing that any problem can be solved or improved, having a positive attitude absolutely helps one to be open to exploring other possibilities that are out there. And then consider trying something new as an experiment is extremely valuable as well. I know we all kind of get stuck in a rut or think we've done the same thing over and over again. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of creativity to try something new and see if that helps us reach our goals. Now, who can help us? Well, we do know that we can solve a lot of problems on our own, but it's also really important to remember that we have teams available to us and that teamwork can be very valuable. So, of course, we have healthcare professionals, we have our doctors, we have certified diabetes care and education specialists, dietitians, there are nurses. It really is important, though, to make sure that we keep up with our appointments with these individuals. That might be some of the hardest part, is just to stay up to date with our regular scheduled appointments, our preventative care visits, that sort of thing. But keeping in constant communication with our primary care doctors, podiatrists, eye doctors, heart doctors, kidney doctors, making sure they know the challenges that you're going through in life can be really important to having their feedback on a regular basis as well. And then we also want to discuss on upcoming coaching calls, our plans to see our healthcare professionals as well. So make sure we have those appointments scheduled and in the future, so we have them to look forward to. Also, I had the great advantage of being a part of a diabetes support group in a local hospital many years ago, and that was just such a great joy of my life and part of my job. I really loved it. It was great to see so many people come together to support each other. I think we get in a rut, kind of forgetting that there's other people out there that might be struggling in similar ways. So we bring everyone together and you have that ongoing support of people in the same season of life. It's very likely that someone else might be experiencing some of the same struggles as you. We do want to make sure, though, in support groups, whether online or in person, that you discuss your remedies with the healthcare professional. Many people have opinions about what works for them, but that doesn't necessarily mean it will work for us as individuals. We also want to make sure we have access to accurate information beyond just Dr. Google. So we do have some very specific recommendations in terms of internet access. So there's the National Diabetes Education Program. There are other large health organizations and pharmaceutical companies that actually have wonderful diabetes handouts or information online. We know the Joslin Diabetes Center is one. The Mayo Clinic is very popular. And then, as always, our favorite to refer everyone to is the American Diabetes Association. The ADA does also have diabetes magazines as well. So there's Diabetes Forecast, Diabetes Health, and then Diabetes Self-Management. And you can find a lot of these associations if you go to the ADA's main website, which is www.diabetes.org. You want to search In My Community and then search local offices as well. And then last, but certainly not least, we do have the library. We just want to make sure that we are cautious about the books that you choose. Also, you may think to ask your healthcare professional or dietitian or nurse for your CDCES for specific recommendations. There are plenty of great books out there, but there are also books that are kind of personal stories about what worked for one person but may not be good for the general population. So you just want to run those books and any diet plans out there by your physician before you try them. Okay, so what are the tools available to us to help us problem solve our diabetes? So thankfully, there's lots of tools. We can keep records, and I have found in my 15 years of working that record keeping is vital and extremely important and a very useful tool. So what are we keeping records of? Well, maybe what we are eating, when we are eating, so the time is extremely important, especially in relation to what our blood sugars were or are. How much you ate at a meal, how much you drank. We cannot forget those beverages, especially if they contain carbohydrates or alcohol. We do also want to be keeping track of what kind, when, and how much medication you've taken. If we forget a dose, obviously we want to document that, and then it's easy to see the trends of how that affected our blood sugars at times. Also, what type of exercise or other physical activity you've done, when you did it, and for how long. And then also, this is something a lot of people don't think to keep a record of, but I do encourage people to think about recording on a regular basis, is if they're in a particularly stressful season of life, if they are practicing any stress management techniques, and if you've had any recent illnesses. Those are extremely important to keep a track of. And also communicate with your doctor. Other various tracking tools available to us are obviously logbooks. So we have, there are tons of logbooks available out there from meter companies. Some meters actually can include places to leave a note with blood sugar readings. There are online record keeping systems, and we do know very popular are phone applications or programs for smartphones. We've got those apps available to us. It's so net. The reason why I like apps the most is because you can track what you're eating pretty much from anywhere if you have your phone on you at all times. One thing I do like to recommend to consider if you're somebody who likes to document on pen and paper and you don't prefer technology, we use old-fashioned calendars at the hospital we worked at for individuals with diabetes while pregnant, and that was really helpful for them to just jot a few notes and look at the month or week view very easily. But there's all sorts of ways that you can do it. It's a personal preference. Now let's go through a case study real quick with Sarah. So we're going to talk about problem solving in action. We know Sarah has type 2 diabetes and she's treated with oral medications. Recently, she's changed jobs, and in her new job, she feels self-conscious about checking her blood glucose. So when she gets home, her blood glucose is often higher than she wants it to be. She's trying to figure out a way to control her blood glucose during the day at work. So how do we begin this problem-solving process? Well, first of all, we want to try and see if we can figure out what is making her blood sugars high. We do know that no lunchtime blood sugars to help solve the issue. And we do need to keep record of her food, physical activity, and stress. Her lunch is consistent and same as before starting her job, but she does have higher stress levels while learning her new job. And she's also walking less at her new job. So what are her solutions? Well, she's discussed with a certified diabetes care and education specialist what her options are. She's decided that she needs a lunchtime and afternoon blood sugar reading. So she decided to obtain a smaller, faster meter and check her blood sugars in the bathroom for privacy. And I've heard lots of people would prefer to do this in their place of work so that they're not having to check their blood sugars out in the open. She tried a bunch of different things. She also decided she wanted to increase her physical activity and practice stress management techniques. So let's see how these worked out for her. So first of all, the breathing exercises did help. Her blood sugar is better, but it is still a little high, but it has improved, which is something to be to focus on the improvements. She decided to start parking further from the office in the morning, and she is walking 2 flights of stairs to use the copier on a different floor at least twice a week daily, probably instead of the elevator. And she did add a brisk 15-minute walk after lunch. And we see this led to sugars in range. So this is another tool I just want to park on for a second and say, if you have the opportunity, whether you work at home or you work out of your home, even adding a 5, 10, or 15-minute walk after a meal, whether it's breakfast or lunch, even just getting outside for 5 to 10 minutes. We do know walking after meals is a very easy way to bring your blood sugar levels down. Lastly, she plans to continue daily increased exercise and incorporate breathing exercises on higher stress days. So we do know in seasons of higher stress, we want to have different things that help us manage our stress other than just relying on food or rest. And so she's trying to use and incorporate breathing exercise on her higher stress days as well. For some people, they like to knit. Some people like to listen to music or journal as well. There are lots of options to focus on stress management. And that is all. So we see that Sarah was able to problem solve on her own, implement her own tools to help improve her blood sugar levels, and she is doing great now. So thank you so much for listening to this presentation, and we'll take an opportunity to answer any questions you might have now. So you can see the question tab on your toolbar, and if you have a question and you'd like to discuss it, I'd be happy to answer those now. Also, you can feel free to share a diabetes self-management tip that has worked for you as well.
Amy, one question that we have is if they're not checking their blood sugars, should they start checking their blood sugars?
That is a great question. So that is always typically between you and your physician. If he thinks that you're someone that would benefit from checking your blood sugar levels. We do know that there are lots of options these days for checking your blood sugars. We have the traditional glucometers you can get anywhere over the counter or with the prescription from your doctor. We do also now have access to the continuous glucose monitors as well. For some people whose blood sugars might be in the prediabetes range, maybe they don't need to check their blood sugars as frequently. Their A1C may be stable. So you could discuss with your physician if you need to check on a regular basis. If you've already checked in the past, I don't see a problem with checking, a couple times a week, just to keep an eye on where your blood sugars are. But if you've never checked before, I would double check with your physician and see if they think that that's a good tool for you to start using to manage your blood sugar levels. And then hopefully they can help you get a meter, and hopefully they can help you learn how to use it as well. Good question.
And Amy, do you have anything else that you would like to add, or is that all the questions that you wanted to answer today?
I think that's it, but I love this topic. I think that individuals living with diabetes should feel empowered to take care of themselves and problem solve and, just learn all that they can learn about diabetes. So I love that you all decided to participate in this webinar today. Please keep an eye out for other ones that we have coming. We have some great ones coming at the end of this year and the beginning of next year as well. We do know that knowledge is power. So thank you for joining today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amy. And like Amy was saying, please do talk to your doctor or even your Cecilia Health dietitian or CDCES who you are working with as well. We want to know if you're having any questions or concerns as well. Here on our next slide, we do have some webinars coming up. Here, let's see here. Uh, Thank you, Amy. Here in January, we're going to be focusing a lot on New Year's resolutions, focusing on the diabetes. And in February, one of our pharmacist CDCESs will be talking about all different types of medications, injections, insulin, etc. So that's a great one as well if you're just wanting to know what else is out there as well. But thank you all again for your time today and have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.